Hello, my name is John Burroughs, and thank you for joining me today for this short video called "The Head is Not a Battering Ram." In today's video, I'll be exploring many of these sports and the sports training practices that often lead to head injuries. And as a culture, my question I ask is, why are we doing this? Whose idea was this? And is this such a great idea after all? And we'll be examining many of the combat sports, boxing, mixed martial arts, football, rugby, lacrosse, hockey, showing you that those neck and head injuries don't go away. They stay with you forever. They live with you. And as a young person, you might not have the knowledge that what's going to happen in the rest of your life. But as a culture, we should be asking, why are we doing this? There are deeper health implications because of all these head and neck injuries. And maybe it's time to re-examine how we exercise and how we entertain ourselves. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you head trauma, how sports is a big part of that. And really the question is, whose idea is that? And why are we continuing that? You know, it seems pretty simple. When you take your head and you ram it against the wall, probably not a good idea. But when you do the same thing in a sport, it's doing the same thing. There's something in the head called the brain, right here. And it doesn't like that. So you're going to have all kinds of issues later on growing up because of that. Whether you're knocked out in a boxing match or a football game or a lacrosse game, those impacts aren't going away anytime soon. So we live in a culture that bets on sports. We entertain ourselves by sports. Yet when those athletes are injured and wounded, we just throw them away and we go find somebody else to pay to go watch. So then we dehumanize them. So by the time they're retired, we want them just to go away with all their health issues and just disappear because we loved them when they were playing and entertaining us. But now that they're injured and have dementia, we don't really want to think too much about them because that makes us feel bad. That's the culture we're living in. We have national holidays to people banging their heads together. It's called the Super Bowl. Every February, first week of February, men get together, grown men together, and knock each other down. And many of them won't live to be 60 years old because we're entertaining ourselves by watching people knock each other down and banging heads together. And that has horrible life consequences for them. You know, so many athletes suffer from dementia, CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, concussion syndromes, memory loss, headaches, migraines, tension in their neck, and then that leads to other things. It leads to drinking and drugs to try to medicate the pain. It leads to depression, suicides, because people don't know how to get out of the pain. All those head injuries cause a ripple effect through our culture. And we not only promote it, we support it. You know, you see on Friday and Saturday night, the family gathers together in their living room with their big screen TV and pops open the soda and gets the popcorn. And they watch a mixed martial arts fight. They bring their young kids and watch two men or two women beat the snot out of each other into submission, and that's good family entertainment today. You watch on the nightly sports report, the first thing the reporter reports is the boxing match or the mixed martial arts fight. And you see how that's become normalized in our culture. Two people beating themselves up or a team beating each other up with long-term health consequences, especially in their head and their neck, and we're okay with that. When I played sports, I did the same thing. We didn't know back then, it's just what you did. I had concussions and neck issues, and I still have problems with that. So you see today that the average boxer has a life expectancy of 67 years old. The average football player in America has a life expectancy of 59 and a half. If your lineman is closer to 55. So people with injuries, especially sports injuries in their head, don't last long. They die much sooner than the average person, and we've made that okay in our culture. So I was taught to run as fast as I could and throw my head into somebody's chest. That's probably not a good idea, but that's what we're taught to do. for entertainment, for sports betting, for all kinds of reasons. And here's our famous Friday, Saturday night entertainment here, boxing matches where two men or two women get in a ring together and beat the crap out of each other until one either submits or the judges decide to end the fight. Those head injuries don't go away. In fact, a famous boxer named Muhammad Ali suffered from Parkinson's for years after his fighting days were over and eventually died of Parkinson's. And almost everybody agrees that was caused by his boxing career. We loved him when he was fighting and just hoped he would go away when he had his disease because we didn't want to think about we were probably the cause of that. And here's America's national pastime here, football. And it starts young. 8 to 10-year-olds are out there knocking each other down. Well, those head injuries don't go away, especially when you're younger, when your brain is developing. So our Friday night entertainment is about watching young people knock each other down and knock each other out. And it's sad, but many of those head injuries do not ever go away. Well, many parents think, oh, I'll just put my kids in soccer because soccer is a very nonviolent sport. Think again. Do you know the #1 head and neck injury rate of all high school sports is soccer, especially girls soccer, because girls have weaker necks, and so their neck and head gets pounded by hitting the ball at their head, by other players hitting them in the head. It's actually a much more violent sport than you think. And every time you hit your head with a soccer ball traveling at high speed, you are up for a concussion. And this is normalized in our culture as being a non-violent sport. And this is one of the worst offenders here in head injuries, mixed martial arts, where two men or two women get into a ring and beat each other to a pulp. Either you get knocked out, killed, or you submit to the opponent there. And those head injuries don't go away, and we cheer this on. This is our nightly entertainment here. This is what we cheer on, and we all support this. Are we a civilized culture, or did we lose it somewhere along the lines? And these are just a few of the long-term head injuries that people suffer from. CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, Parkinson's disease, and dementia, and there are many others, headaches, neck and shoulder pain, inflammation, many others. But these are the long-term lasting effects of head injuries that we all support. We all participate in this. So some of the science behind it all, you have the human head here, and if we were to open it up and look inside, essentially the brain is a bag of water. And when you have hits to your head, either you hit the ground or somebody hits you, that brain bag of water bounces around. And it causes bruising and tearing. And it loses circulation. And over time, that bruising and tearing and other disruptions, the craniosacral fluid gets disrupted, that causes permanent damage. I recently heard an interview from a famous football player, and he was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and he had spoken to his doctor about, do you think football could have caused this? Shocked. And this doctor replied, of course. He said, the doctor said, how many times has your head hit the ground or somebody hit you? And the football player said, thousands. And it wasn't just one hit, it was over and over and over again. And those hits over time caused major brain damage, leading to Parkinson's disease. And when he asked his doctor, okay, maybe we shouldn't start playing football at 8 years old. Would you think maybe a junior or senior in high school? Is that a good time to start playing football? And the doctor said, never. Never's a good time to start playing football. So those brain injuries don't go away. Your brain's a bag of water that bounces around every hit. And here's the irony. We say, oh, we're making sports so much safer now. We have better helmets and we have rules that protect players. That's just the big lie. Because your brain's still bouncing around within the helmet and you're still causing brain damage. So it's a false narrative. They're telling you, oh, we've made it safer now. I'm looking at it going, no, that's the lie. They're telling you to keep the money flow going. So once again, there's ripple effects to all of this. If you have injuries, you're going to be in pain a lot. You're going to have a lower level of function of life. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel inflammation. You don't have a name for it. You feel tired. You feel loss of energy. Your life will suffer. Then you might turn to drugs, prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs. I see all the time former football players. You know why they love marijuana? Because it medicates their head pain. They love it. They want it to be legalized in the whole country because it medicates them to survive, because most of them have so much physical body pain, especially head pain. They need the marijuana just to get up out of bed every day. Why are we allowing this? Not just the marijuana part, but why are we starting in the beginning, allowing ourselves to create chaos in our brains? The reason is, I see so many of my clients that come to me as a body worker with head and neck injuries that started decades ago from playing sports. They have neck injuries, they have dementia, they have memory loss, they have all kinds of distortions in their head and neck. In many cases, it's because of the sports they played decades ago. So I see the effects in my practice of people years later not feeling well, in pain, all kinds of issues, pinched nerves in their neck and shoulders, all kinds of issues. And it's sad that we're at this place. What makes me most sad is that we're all part of this. We are the fans encouraging these people, men and women, to go out and bang themselves up, to create head trauma for our enjoyment, for our betting purposes, for our addiction to betting, for our ego. We want to win. We want to be proud of our team. We're all supporting this. We are the fans who are creating a monster of brain issues because we are encouraging this. So when you turn your head into a battering ram, it has negative consequences for you and for society. Society will suffer as well, as we have human beings who are low functioning, violent, depressed, have all kinds of societal issues because we're creating this system. So what's the solution here? Well, part of it's awareness, just letting you know from my experience with my own head injuries, you can cure most of this with doing the right things and enough of the right things. You have to stop at the beginning. Maybe instead of having violent sports, we cut out the violent sports. People don't realize even what you consider non-violent sports are still violent. For example, if you're playing baseball, you can get hit in the head by a pitch, and that pitch hitting your head at 90 miles an hour could cause brain injuries the rest of your life. Or if you're playing volleyball and somebody spikes the ball and hits you in the face, that could cause a lifetime of brain injuries. So we have to re-examine our sports and how we teach our kids to stay healthy and exercise. My suggestion as a yoga teacher is maybe we should eliminate all sports and teach yoga in school and other functional movements and get away from the violent competitive sports altogether, especially the violent ones, but leave long-lasting effects. So maybe we need to look at the beginning, how we teach our kids how to exercise. Also, in order to heal, what I've done a lot is I got a lot of massages on my neck and head, getting the circulation to flow into my head and neck. I had a lot of fascia body work, which releases the tension areas in the fascia, which is the wrapping around the muscle tissue. There's also hyperbaric oxygen chambers, which help under pressure push blood into your brain to start heal your brain. There's essential oils that can be used that are helpful to help heal brain trauma. A lifetime of yoga would be helpful, as well as we just keep moving the body in a different way. Teaching children to be flexible in their body and they don't have to dominate and compete. There's also craniosacral therapy, which is a type of body work that works the membranes in the head. And this has been really important in my healing of my head and my head injuries from playing sports. Craniosacral therapy is a very helpful tool to help relieve a lot of the tension in the head and get everything to flow again. So yes, we can heal from this, but we have to look at some of the practices in our barbaric culture and ask ourselves, how civilized do we want to be? And what are the long-lasting effects? Once again, as a body worker, I can tell you, I see these conditions every day, and people don't realize what happened in high school or college or in their professional career have long-lasting effects. And it happens even to the weekend athlete, not just the professional athlete. So a 14-year-old can suffer from a brain injury the rest of their life just from playing freshman football. So we can change, and there are ways to heal the head and heal the body. But first we have to respect the head, knowing that it's probably not a good idea to run as fast as you can and throw your head into a garage door. So why are we doing the same thing in sport? It's the same thing, whether you're wearing a helmet or not. That helmet's really not protecting your brain. So we can heal as a society, each individual. If you'd like to learn more, you can please subscribe to my channel here for more leading edge videos to come. I have a great book called Return to Nature, The 5 Pillars of Healing. You can pick that up at my website, johnburris.com, amazon.com, or barnesandnoble.com. So thank you for joining me today.